Hi everyone. It's really good to be back here. I'm still in my office, as you can see, and here in the UK it's kind of rubbish weather. So it's grey, we've had lots of rain, which is okay, the garden needs it, so I'm not complaining too much about that. But I have to say it's really not very nice weather. But yeah, we are where we are, I guess. So what am I here to talk about today on my lessons from a lurker? This week has been quite a nice week. I've got a bit of space. I was busy with new client delivery last week, but I've got a bit of space this week, which is good because it gives me a chance to reflect. It gives me a chance to catch up. It gives me the opportunity to really kind of get slightly ahead of myself, which I always like to do anyway. But the one of the things I really want to share with you is a recent experience where I had a massive draw to lurking. So let me tell you a little bit about it. It was in a meeting yesterday afternoon, and it was in a meeting that was, I just got a chat come in. Good morning, Carrie from Minnesota. I trust the weather is good where you are, Carrie. So there was a meeting called with a group of us who are colloquially known as disruptors. And we've been kind of toying with the idea of how to work together in, going forward. But as yet, we haven't actually got anything serious in place. So this was one of those meetings to say, look, is there something here that we can offer? Is there a way we can work together? So the guy running the meeting, Martin, said, look, why don't we, all just introduce ourselves? And I know some introverts really don't like introducing themselves. I don't have a big hang up about it because as a trainer, it's important for me to allow people to get their voice into the room and to know who I'm dealing with and to hear them say their name so that I pronounce it properly. So I probably don't have as many hang-ups with introducing ourselves as perhaps other people do. So I listened to a few people's introductions and fairly quickly got to the point of thinking, I don't quite know why I'm here, because I don't work in their specialist niche that a lot of them do work in. So when it got time for me to introduce myself, I was towards the end, but not right at the end. I introduced myself as a cuckoo in the nest, because a cuckoo is a somebody who kind of almost pretends to be. So they'll put their egg into somebody else's nest and hope that somebody else will rear their young. So I said that potentially I'm a bit of a cuckoo in the nest, in that this isn't my real nest, but that I'm here to listen and I'm here to see if I can add any value. To which the chair of the meeting said, oh, I definitely think you can add some value here, Joe. So it's like, okay, that was a nice bit of reassurance. I wasn't necessarily looking for that external validation, but it's always nice when it comes, isn't it? So he then went on to mention me about the footprint I've created with my LinkedIn posts and about how he's been following. And I knew he'd been following me because I've seen him comment, I've seen him like some of my LinkedIn posts. But I thought he was just doing it to be nice. Isn't this interesting, eh? And what he said is, I've been following Jo and I'm so impressed by what she's doing in terms of building her footprint, building her visibility, building her brand. And I think there's something we could learn from that. So Jo, will you share a little bit with us about that? So that was an amazing opportunity. And it immediately kicked me out. Sorry, I've got itchy eyes. Kicked me out of my cuckoo feeling and enabled me to kind of contribute more fully. And as the meeting went on, I put several suggestions in the chat box, all of which were picked up and, thought of and talked about as being really good ideas and then progressed. So I thought, how interesting that my initial temptation to lurk, because it felt like I didn't fit, it felt like I wasn't necessarily one of them, it felt like I didn't really have the same agenda, actually turned out to be something that was really generative, really quite productive. So I wanted to share that with you, that sometimes when we're tempted to lurk, it's from a position of maybe, to think about using Caroline McHugh's phrase, that kind of a feeling of inferiority, and on certainly comparisonitis on my sense, so much so that I'm now thinking about the podcast I'm going to release next week is going to be around comparisonitis, because I think that's, you know, such an important thing for us to get out of and get away from. So I wanted to share that lesson so that we don't lurk because we've already prejudged whether we fit, whether we have a contribution to make, whether it will be valued, and really encourage us to make the contribution regardless of whether other people consider it to be valuable or not. Because who knows, you know, what's the old kind of biblical thing about, you know, some seed will fall on stony ground, and some ideas, some suggestions will. But that's not a reflection on who we are. It's a reflection that that's not the right thing for the group at the moment. So that was the first thing I wanted to share with you, because it really helped me think about not lurking as much as I have been doing. But there is a place where I have been lurking. So 2 weeks ago, I guess, the episode that I shared was about me putting my intention out there to be a thought leader. And that was quite a scary thing for me to do, because it's not me that determines whether I'm a short leader. I'm a short leader. It's not me that determines whether I'm a thought leader. But it is interesting, and I may have shared this last week, it is interesting that that's the one podcast episode that I haven't shared on social media. I haven't shared on LinkedIn, for instance. I haven't shared on Facebook. Why? So am I still hiding somewhat and deciding that maybe I'm not ready? Who am I to kind of stake my claim as a thought leader? And again, I know that it's not me that determines whether I'm a thought leader or not. But it has actually prompted me to be more provocative in my my LinkedIn posts. And that's gone down quite well. So last Tuesday, it might have been, I put a poll up about, the hybrid working being misapplied, in that people were saying, yeah, we're hybrid working, so you've got to come into the office 2 days a week, which isn't the intention behind hybrid working. And I put a poll up to say, who's ready to go back full time? Who's ready to go back 2 days a week? Who's actually happy to continue working from home? Yeah, Joe, the provocateur, I know, it's lovely, isn't it? Who's ready to, who wants to continue working from home? And who wants to decide day by day, moment by moment? And the vast majority, I must check on it because it'll be ending today then probably. The vast majority of people were in those bottom two. So I think it was something like 60 or 70% of people either wanted to continue working from home and choose moment by moment, day by day. And that's a really strong message, especially if you look at the Johnny Diamond LinkedIn post where he's saying everyone back in. And I thought, actually, does he really know what he's doing to his people? And I suppose that's the world of investment banking now, isn't it? So what do you reckon I should do? Do you reckon I should share that episode, even though it's now a couple of weeks old? Do you think it warrants a post on its own? I'd be interested to hear what you think. So if you're watching live, let me know what you think. And if you're watching on replay, #replay, what do you think I should do? Is it too late to share that episode, a couple of weeks old, or do you think it's still worth doing? Again, maybe with a provocative slant on it, because I'm quite enjoying the naughtiness of that, actually, knowing that actually some people are going to go and get all uptight about it, and some people are going to go, good point. So that'll be interesting. So it's going to lead into me creating a podcast to release next week that's all about comparisonitis and the damage that it does to us as introverts and the part it plays, I think, in us lurking. And I'm going to explore that. So if you've got any views about that, again, share in the comments, either now or on replay, because it'll be interesting to see whether you think comparisonitis does have a part to play in the reason why we lurk. Do we, are we prejudging what people will say and think? Are we holding ourselves back in some way without thinking about how our contribution might add value in the same way that my contribution to yesterday's meeting certainly added value to the proceedings there? So that's all I want to talk about today, and I very much look forward to joining you next week. Who knows what I'll be talking about next week, but if you're connected with me on LinkedIn, check out to see that I'm still being provocative on LinkedIn, and let me know what you think about whether it's too late to promote that other episode. Thanks for joining me. It's been lovely to see you, and I hope you have a good rest of your day, rest of your Tuesday, and a good rest of your week. I've got a nice week where I can play catch up and get on top of things, which I'm really looking forward to. No client delivery this week, which feels a real treat. So looking forward to this week. Take care, everyone, and see you soon.